I'll tell you what, this one's called My Attitude Will Change When I Choose to Change It. This is, people really don't like this stuff, okay? If you walk up to somebody and they have a bad attitude, right? And a lot of this, right? Blaming others, just on the list, right? Blaming others, you know, the being afraid, having, making choices that are hurtful, or addictions, or mental health issues, or physical health issues, or parental issues, like all that, you know, when things are going sideways. If you walk up to them and say, well, things will change if you change your attitude, they will get actually mad at you, because the thing in their brain is basically, no, this is external, right? The issue isn't me. The issue is I was abused. The issue isn't me. The issue is I have terrible parents. The issue isn't me. The issue is that I have, you know, my church hurt me, or that I have mental health issues, or that I have learning disabilities, or that I have physical disabilities. That's the issue. It's not my attitude. And that's actually not true. That is part of the issue, but how you approach that issue, the attitude that you approach it with, is what will actually affect your life. That's what will make or break whether or not that thing cripples you, or whether or not that thing actually works in your favor, or you're able to figure out a way to work around it, right? It's all about attitude. And it's not the best biblical word. We tend not to talk about attitude when it comes to biblical words. We prefer things like, you know, the spirit inside of you, or whether or not you have the fruit of the spirit, or whether or not, you know, like whatever, obedience. Like, but when it really, the term attitude comes down to is your perception of what's around you and your reaction to it, which is very biblical. So the premise here, and again, we're in level number 8, right? We're in number 8 of this very long list of things to do with your attitude. And it is, if you want your life to change, if you need to change your attitude, right? If you want your attitude to change, you have to choose to change it. They use the verse Deuteronomy 30:19, which is all about choice. Says, I call heaven and earth as to witness against you today that I have set before you life and death, the blessing and the curse. Therefore, choose life in order that you may live, right? You've got the same thing kind of happening in Joshua, where he looks at everybody. He's like, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Make your choice, right? Which way are you going to go? Pagan, or are you going to go with God? And all the way through scriptures, you can see God offering choice. You can see there are two paths between, even like things like Balaam's donkey. You're going to stop, or you're going to keep going? You're going to stop, or you're going to keep going, right? Are you going to listen, or are you not going to listen? Jesus, most of his teaching, right? Okay, so are you listening or not? Are you hearing me or not? Is your heart hard or not? When what you're looking at in front of you, are you agreeing with what you see and what you experience? Like Jesus raising the dead, making the blind see, powerfully preaching messages that are perfect in resonance with people's hearts. And the Pharisees standing there going, I don't like it. Why? Not because he was wrong, not because he was doing anything wrong. It was because they didn't want to lose what they had. Their attitude sucked. And so therefore, all the way through script, all the way through life, for that matter, you're going to be offered the opportunity to, when you look at something, you see something happening, the choice of whether or not you are going to choose life or death, blessing or curse, whether or not you're going to choose obedience or disobedience, joy or you know, lack of joy, misery. Let's do 10 examples. Before we do that, he says, we cannot tailor-make the situations of our life and leadership, or life and creatorship, or life and ministry, or life and job, whatever you want to put there. But we can tailor-make the attitudes to fit them before they arrive. That is a huge one. Before. You did that word there, before, right? Can pick artery clogging fish and chips or a healthy chicken salad. Yes, those are choices you could make. Absolutely. And I know which one I would pick every time. Right? Like the before they arrive. This is that word. I wish I had. Do I have a way to circle things? Can I draw something? I can. Here. Before. That is so important. This is all about whether or not you can make the very difficult decision to alter your perception of your reality and self and relationships, to do the hard work of self-discipline, to make the choice to be positive instead of negative, hopeful instead of not hopeful, all that stuff beforehand, right? When the fertilizer hits the ventilator, when the difficult people come, when I lose my job, when I get, like we're talking about Redeem J, right? Like when I get shafted by my family, like when that happens, because it's going to happen, like something bad is going to happen, I will choose to react to it in this way, right? Even though it's hard. I know for me, one of the biggest lessons of my life was I went from somebody who hoped things would work out to someone who nipped it in the bud. Okay. So when I first started in my pastoral ministry and whatnot, I'm like, I'm going to give people the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to let them, I'm sure they're not that as upset. I'm sure it'll work itself out. I'm sure it'll be fine. I don't need to get all bent out of shape. I don't need to give them a phone call. I don't need to do any of that because they are, they're adults, they're Christians, they know what they're doing. And what ends up happening is that it festers. Right? The situation doesn't get any better. Maybe it goes away sometimes, but that situation, all of a sudden it becomes bitterness and it becomes anger and it deep-seated and it spreads and more people are involved and whatnot. And as I let that go early in my career, things would crop up and you'd find out months later that so-and-so is really upset and so-and-so left the church, or so-and-so had been mad at you for so long, or so-and-so has been sinning and lying or manipulating or doing bad stuff with the money for a while now. And like, well, yeah, I heard something about that, but I never bothered to follow through. Later, as I grew and matured, I'm like, man, no, you got to do the hard thing. You got to make the difficult phone call in advance, right? You hear something, so-and-so's got this issue, so-and-so's upset, so-and-so's doing something dumb. Call them up, I was called, okay, fine, cool. Hello. So I just heard this thing, and I was wondering what's going on there. Can we talk about it? Do you want to meet about it? I'd like to hear this, make sure the situation is resolved as soon as possible, or whatever. And what would end up happening is the situation would be far smaller, or it will have been festering for so long that the person finally goes, okay, let's deal with that. Or the third option was you'd discover that they were so off, so broken, so lost, so rebellious that just trying to confront them and have a conversation with them set them off. And that they would end up blowing something up and showing themselves to be not who they were, not who we thought they were. That all happens before. I will make the decision to make that call. I will choose to follow through on that meeting. I will choose to make sure that I'm prayed up for it and have read the Bible and I've got my coverage and I've told people where I'm going and I've got my accountability. And if it's a woman, then this is how it's going to be run, so to make sure that she feels safe and everything's working out and it's all fine. Beforehand, this is how it's going to work. That's how you change your life. That's how you affect your life. You tailor-make your attitude to fit the situations of your life before they ever arrive. Better that than having things hit you, not knowing what to do, and going with your first blush instinct, right? Because that's never going to work out. It's always going to be like, that made me mad, so I will react as a mad person. That made me sad, I will withdraw. That made me, frustrated, therefore I will be manipulative. It's your first blush is never going to work. You got to plan it up front. So here's some 10 things that you can do to change your attitude. Sis Pineapple said, this is what I do at work. If I have a difficult letter to send out, I ring the first person to explain the decision. It's either you get an hour-long ranting phone call later and endless emails. Yep, totally. Yep, that upfront scary thing, the thing that other people won't do because they're like, I don't want to deal with that, saves you so much grief. I mean, ultimately, Sis Pineapple made a joke, right? The artery clogging fish and chips or chicken salad. That's the same thing, right? I will choose the difficult thing, salad, so that later I will have fit my life and fit my body and fit my whatever to be able to handle things that happen in the future. I'll have more energy, I'll have less lethargy, I'll have less disease, I'll have, I'll be able to move around in case something happens. But the choices up front are going to cause issues later. We just talked about that with debt, right? It's the choices I'm making now, the people that I partner with, the loans that I get, credit cards that I fill up, the budget that I have today is going to affect what I'm able to do tomorrow. Hello, Mock and Jay. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Like if today I'm like, man, I don't care. I want that stereo. I want that set. I want that kitchen, whatever. I want that computer. I don't care. I'll put it on the credit card. Don't worry, it'll work out. I have a job. It'll pay it off in 3 months, et cetera, et cetera. Then later, when you're given an opportunity to do something big, something important, something, say, God mission, or somebody needs your help, or you need to quit work for a little while, you're stuck. You can't. Why? Because now you're in debt. You need that income. You need it to be consistent, et cetera, et cetera. Your decisions up front are changing your future. It's a big one. The disclaimer, in this freezing cold weather and dark nights, it is fish and chips every time. Amen, sister. And as my mother said, and I live by these words, and you're not allowed to argue because it's my mother. She said, you can't eat healthy all the time. It's not good for you. And I agree with that completely. Okay. Number A. We're going to make these different colors because that's fun. Speaking from personal experience, a job isn't always guaranteed. Yeah, well, that's it, right? And so therefore, and there's lots of people out there that, like Donnie, no, I'm not saying you did this, but like you start the job, you get excited, they promise you some stuff. Oh, you're going to be management soon, and we've got a whole track for you. And so you do dumb stuff like go get another big thing, or spend money in advance, or get a bigger house, or go buy that truck, and whatever. And you find out that apparently that wasn't as guaranteed as I thought. Now I'm screwed. I'm in real trouble because I've signed papers that make me have to pay this back. Now I'm in trouble, right? That's absolutely true, and it happens to a lot of people. It happens to NFL players. This is actually a problem that they've had, and that is they have these guys that they're young, and then all of a sudden they have $1 million, right? They're getting NFL money. And what do? Well, because they lack self-control, or because they're so stressed out from what they're doing, or because they want to look cool, or whatever reason, they go and they buy a big house, and they get themselves all the cool tech, and they're like, well, I'm in the NFL, or NFL, I'm going to be able to make tons of money. So yeah, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to do whatever. And they end up hurt. And now they end up in tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes millions worth of debt. There are people who have gone through the NFL, left the NFL, and been worse off financially simply because of the choices that they made. So I heard this. I remember hearing this a while back. I can't remember where, but so don't quote me on it. But I remember them talking about how there's like a program now in the NFL where they try to help the young guys not do the dumb thing. I can't remember if it's like a mentor thing, or if like a chaplain thing, or if it's like this some kind of limitation they put on. But it's like this became a real problem, and they don't want guys to blow up their life just because they've decided this is gonna work out like rainbows forever. It happens to everyone. So, all right, let's go through these things. Number A says, believe it is not what happens to you, but what happens in you that matters most. That's the first part, right? It's really all about making the decision to say, okay, it's not the external stuff that is causing the issues. And we already talked about that, so I won't belabor the point. But it is not the external stuff. It is how I respond to the external stuff, right? It is not the pain I'm currently feeling. It's what I do with that feeling, what I do with that pain, how I process that pain, how I react to that pain, and how far I carry that pain, right? It's not just about the issue you have now, or the appetite you have now. It is all about what are my motivations? What is the reason for the appetite? What's going on inside here? It's not what happens to you that matters most, is what happens in you. Your reaction is far more important than whatever the stimulus is. Supersonic says, mortgage numbers, keep track for fun. TLDR, it is hard to not spend money. Don't walk into a contract bill you can't pay back. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's just smart. Nobody should do that, but everybody seems to, right? It's really easy to lie to yourself. Like, have you ever said, I know my credit card needs to be paid on this date, and I know I get paid on the day before or whatever, so therefore I can buy the thing now a few weeks early, and then in the future, and I can have it now, so that, because I know that in the future, in 3 weeks or whatever, 2-3 weeks, I'll be able to pay it off because the paycheck will have come and I'll be able to pay off that debt. You lie to yourself. I can get immediate gratification because I can guarantee that in 3 weeks, my future prediction will happen, right? And then you forget things, or you didn't budget right, or something else happens, or the job dries up or something, and suddenly that decision's completely messed you up. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Supersonic. Pineapple says, I guess the other thing that's flashing money around and making lots of friends. Only do I realize later that they were not true friends. And that's a big one. Yeah. I mean, that's literally the story of the prodigal son, right? That's the idea of went out and bought himself some friends, and when things went sideways, turned out they weren't friends. It's good to be generous. I think it's good to be generous with your friends. Hello, Samus. It's good to be generous with your friends. It's good to be, like, hey, let's go do a fun thing. And, I can't do the fun thing. It's okay. I'll pay for you. Let's go. It's more fun with you there. There's nothing wrong with that. But recognizing that the money or whatever you're doing and whatnot is not what the friendship is based on. And if the person's not calling you and not talking to you and not concerned about you and only shows up when there's something fun, or like a party, or like there's something new, then chances are they're not your friend. Ukulele says, never believe that future me is going to do better things than current me is doing. Yeah, exactly. Don't worry. In the future, I'll be very, very smart and very, very controlled. Today, I don't have to. That's sort of like those people who are like, I want to pad my testimony by doing all the sins up front so I can get saved and I have some stories to tell. Like, what is wrong with you? That's dumb. It's like, I'm going to chop off my leg because someday I'm hoping that, like, what? Supersonic says, my rent is due on the 1st. I'd rather pay it about a week early just in case so I don't forget. And 3, good. Yeah, absolutely. 1,000%. 1,000%. Do it. Yeah, good for you. Come now, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go into such and such a town and spend a year there and trade and make a profit. Yet you do not know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little time and then vanishes. Yep, perfect verse. That presumption of the future, right? You can't presume. Simon says, every decision you make is a vote for who you want to be. Oh, wow. That's poignant. A vote for who you want to be. Good one. Good one. On the end of that verse, instead you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we will live and do this or that. As it is, you boast in your arrogance. All such boasting is evil. Yeah, literally. And that's what we're talking about, right? That idea of, I know what's going to happen in the future. That's boasting, right? That's presumptuous. And it'll get you in trouble. All right, so A, obviously, is what happens on the inside is more important than what happens on the outside. B, stop blaming something or someone else for your attitude. That's a quote from book Atomic Habits. Okay, far out. It's a good quote. Stop blaming something or someone else for your attitude. This is a big one. I'm sad because of what happened in the past. I'm always angry because of how I grew up. I'm always frustrated because I have learning disability. I'm always last and therefore miserable because of my physical disability. I'm never going to get a promotion, and I'm, all the rest of that stuff because everybody in the job is against me, or I was never educated in school or whatever. You know what I mean? If you spend your life blaming everything, including all of the stuff going on, you know, in your body and mind, for why things aren't working out, you will always have a perpetual excuse why not to try, why it'll always fail, because that situation is not going to go away. You're not going to all of a sudden be magically not have a learning disability, or magically not have a mental health issue, or magically not have a physical health issue, or magically have better parents in the past. Like, that's not going to happen. So therefore, you have a choice. It either becomes your excuse forever and ever and ever, and you get to be miserable, or you can say, that happened, and I'm going to make the choice to have a better attitude about it, to see it in a different way, to look for the, you know, for lack of a better term, look for the silver lining, look for the good that can come from it, look from the audience that I'm able to build and communication I'm able to have and relationships I can build because of that situation. I'm going to look at it as a proving ground, a testing ground, a way that I had to build character and build tenacity. I'm going to look at it as a way that I can understand how other people have gone through difficult things. I understand how, from a different perspective than most, because I've been through that situation. And because of that, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, but because I've been through that, I have a golden Willy Wonka ticket into someone's life to have a conversation that nobody else can have. Right? That's your choice. What do you see? Either blame the something or someone, or recognize that it's not them, it's you. You can change. Supersonic Mockingjay says, I tend to do my budgeting on the last weekend of the month, so that gives me good time frame to aim for, along with knowing it's taken care of on time and no matter what, putting God first. Well, I don't think I could do that. I'm such a consistency guy. It's like, well, I mean, it's hard though, because when I had a job, by God's grace, I'll have another one next month. Anyway, I had a consistent paycheck, right? It always came in, same amount. So it was like, this is how much we have, and this is how much we have, and this is how much we have done. And that was our budget, you know, until inflation or until, you know, something crazy happened. I don't think I'd be able to manipulate every month, but my guess is that you don't have a consistent paycheck, right? Pineapple says, I have a second bank account that I transfer money into for bills and pay them out of that account. This means money is always ring-fenced with no chance I will use it for anything else. That's good. That's really, really good. That's smart. And it's put the cookie jar up high. You know, don't bring the chips into the house if you have a problem with that. It's, you know, I'm not going out after 11, or my computer turns itself off at 10 o'clock, or I have a blocker on my internet. Like, it's about, okay, I can't control myself, therefore I'm going to use an actual something to make sure it happens, because I can't trust myself to have that kind of self-control, and I don't want to not pay my bills, or I don't want to be sick, or I don't want to, you know, consistently feel guilty and shameful. Yeah. Your job is entertaining and mentoring. Well, I agree. I think what I meant was I want a paycheck, please. Like a consistent one it's got a check, and it's got like one of those little tally sheets that you rip off and then you look at and you find out how much you had, you know, all that kind of stuff. That would be nice. He did say, by the way, in case you're wondering, not everybody is, but I talked to Bernard, who is the guy from New Ventures who's working through all this stuff with me. He said he hopes that on December 5th, he'll know more. So that's where we are right now. Could you live like that? I don't know, man. It is such a life of faith and patience. I tell you what, it is so hard. I think, though I don't know on this part yet, 5th week paycheck I can put towards differently, because 4 weeks I can keep constant. Oh, that's cool. You get paid weekly? That's kind of a neat idea, right? What do you do with that 5th week paycheck? That's kind of fun. I think that's really neat to be able to go, I'm not in debt, and actually the 5th week shows up, and therefore, you know, what can I do to bless myself, bless others, do something cool? Yeah, that's neat. I like that a lot. That's party week. That's where Supersonic Mockingjay goes full tilt, just gets turned. every 3 months, just full on turn in the 5th week. Number C, evaluate your present attitudes. Maybe we won't do all these today, but there's a lot. That's fantastic. What the heck? Look at that. Dang, man. All right. Evaluate your present attitudes. We talk about this in the class. Actually, it comes up a couple times. The Christian content creator class. And that is, you have to be evaluating and you have to be questioning everything. It's really, it's like very paranoid. It sounds paranoid, but it's not meant to be, live as though everything's always going to fall apart all the time and you're never doing anything right. What it means is be willing to ask some difficult questions of yourself, right? What are my present attitudes? When I get disappointed, what do I do? When I get attacked, how do I respond? When I get a pile of money thrown into my hands, what do I do with it? When I'm hungry and it's 10 p.m., what do I do? Right? When I'm on stream or I'm doing my creative thing and it's not going well and it's not right, who do I blame? How do I respond? Right? Evaluate your present attitudes and ask yourself, first off, if you're a Christian, and hopefully you are, but are you, sorry, I'm just getting an ad warning. I just want to make sure that nobody gets an ad. If that happens, let me know. Right? Evaluate your attitude. Are they biblical? Are they helpful? Are they loving? Are they self-controlled? Do they show patience, kindness, gentleness, generosity? You know what I mean? Do they line up? Do they line up? And it's hard to do sometimes, especially if you're stuck on the whole, it's everybody else's fault and everything on the outside is the reason I can't do that. It's asking the question. You have to evaluate your current attitudes to see whether or not you need improvement. Maybe it'll be like, yeah, I've really improved. Back when I was in high school, I was super jerk and less so in college. And now I'm not nearly as jerky as I used to be. I'm so glad that God's done that work, right? Or whatever else, I was very lecherous and now I'm not, like things like that. Like what redemption has God done in your life? You can celebrate it too. It's not always bad. All right, let's do one more before we turn it off, because I don't want to overwhelm you guys, and I don't want to cover a million things. I promised I wouldn't kill you guys with giant lists, so we'll do this one. Recognize that faith is stronger than fear. That's not just a nice thing that you put on a poster or you sew onto a pillow and throw it onto the couch. The super jerk, not as jerky, less beef over things. Beef jerky. Oh, there you go. Fun. Beef jerky pun. Recognize that faith is stronger than fear. What does that mean practically? What does that mean practically? In this world, you will have trouble. In this world, there will be people against you. In this world, there will be tons of uncertainty. There will be all kinds of things to worry about. There will be things that happen that you didn't see coming. And there will be things that you see coming that you can do nothing about. And it can cause anxiety, fear, difficulty, don't know what to do. So your response, your attitude, your reaction to that, whatever it is, right? The stimulus, the fear, that's what's going to change things, right? That's what changes things. It is, okay, do I believe that God is in control? Do I believe that God could do something good with this? Do I believe that God has a plan for this? Do I believe that God's people are on my side? Do I believe that I am supposed to forgive and I'm supposed to confess and I'm supposed to be vulnerable? Do I believe that when God says, I need to keep a short account with people and then I need to, all that stuff, do I believe what God says and to react his way? Or do I distrust him, distrust his word, and I want to react how I feel I should, how I want to react, right? That debt thing that we've been kind of talking about the entire time, that is a faith and fear issue, right? It's the reason you want the thing now is because you're afraid you're going to miss out. You got the FOMO, right? The reason you want the thing now or you go into debt is because you're worried you're not going to have enough in the future. The reason that you rack up your credit cards on that thing is because you feel like some terrible thing's going to happen, or you won't be able to enjoy the good thing, or whatever. And so you sell yourself into debt because you do not trust that God is going to provide. Do not trust that God is going to be able to fill that need in a better way. You don't believe that God is going to be able to use that passion in a different, more healthy, constructive way. And so therefore, because you don't believe God's promises as provider, as king, as Lord, as savior, as father, as friend, you don't believe what he says, you go and find a new God, lowercase g, and you call that, and that is money, or mammon in the Bible. And it means that you say, I need to quell these fears, whatever's happening inside of me. Can't trust God to do it. I'm going to let money do it. Right? The big test, I would say, if you want to know if, you do this, it is when something happens, whatever the something is, what's your first instinct? Right? Let's say, I keep saying right, forgive me. I have that tick now. I don't know why. But let's say you are driving your car and the wheel falls off. Just falls off. And you have a choice now. Right? How do you react? Well, you have choices. You can go, I'm going to call a tow truck that I can't afford. I'm going to get my credit card out because I need a car and it's got to be fixed. Or I hate this car, I need a new one. And I have to get it right away. You can be angry and you can be frustrated and you can be mad and you go out and kick the car, and talk down about how all mechanics and all cars and everything from a certain country doesn't work. You know what I mean? You do that. Or you can go, how does God want me to respond to this? Not, Jesus, take the wheel falls off, not that wheel. Yeah, that's funny. Right? Or you can go, okay, I'm supposed to be vulnerable and use my connections at church and in my relationships in order to be able to, in order to be able to solve this situation. So I will call a friend. I will call my mom or my dad, or I will call my church friend, or I'll call my network, or call somebody that I know and trust and love, and I'm going to tell them the situation. I'm not going to do that whole thing in my brain where it's like, I don't want to burden my friends, blah, blah, blah. Even though you would totally be generous with them, somehow you don't want to tell them when you need help, right? But so I am going to be vulnerable, and I am going to ask for help, right? And I'm also going to be patient. I'm not going to immediately call tow truck. I'm not going to immediately call whatever. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask advice of people who know better, and I'm going to see if there's anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Google, or I'm going to call up my friend who knows a friend who's a mechanic, and I'm going to say, hey, I'm stuck on the side of the road, and I know tow trucks cost like freaking so much money. How can I do this? What's the better way to do this? And then you get advice. And then you take the car and you pull it and you let it sit there and you get on your knees and you say, Lord, I need a car to get to so-and-so, wherever I need to go to do the thing. I just need to get there, right? I need to get places. And so I don't know what you want me to do. I don't have the money to fix this car right now. I don't have the ability to fix it myself. So therefore, I'm going to wait to see what you do. I'm going to tell people. I'm going to share it with my, my small group. I'm going to share it with my friends, going to share it with my Discord, going to share it with my, I'm going to tell people my car blew up and I need help and I don't know what to do about it. And I'm going to let you work through your people and see what happens. Right? That you do that, and it shows that your faith is stronger than your fear. And I know a lot of people, they get all worked up and then they end up doing faithless, fear-based things that get them in trouble in the future, instead of being able to go, nope, I'm not going to do that. I'll wait. I'll listen. I'll ask. I'll trust. And I'll be patient. Right? The car story sounds familiar. It's one that I think a lot of people use. Same with computer, right? So like Hello, Grr, beware. Good to see you. So let's say, I'll tell the story. You guys all know the story, so it's gonna be a short one. When I was first starting to stream, I was about a few months in, like not even that far in, and I was streaming off my PC that was like 12 years old, I think, and it was moving into 13. It was able to play some Minecraft, and I think I was able to play a couple other games, but it was on the edge, and it couldn't handle the load. Like, it was like, man, I'm using every resource this thing has, and eventually it just didn't work. It just, like, it wouldn't run Minecraft, it wouldn't do anything. It just couldn't anymore. And so I said to my community, instead of me going, I gotta stream, it's my thing, God told me to, and I run it out and, you know, putting $3,000 on the account or getting on Amazon and immediately ordering something, which I was very tempted to do. Instead, what I did is I said, okay, I'm gonna pray about it, I'm gonna wait, and I'm gonna tell my community, hey guys, my computer doesn't work anymore, and I really wish I had one that worked, because I'm planning to do this for a long time. So that's my situation. If you want to help, please, that'd be great. And within 4 days, they had given enough money that I was able to buy a computer. And it was really cool too, because I went to the computer store, got the thing, got the computer, went that one. That's what I need in order to do my job, please. And it came out to be like within $6 of what I was, $6 of what I was given. Like, it was miraculous. And it's because, now I'm not giving myself credit, but it's because it started because I didn't do the stupid thing and go and order it myself. I did the vulnerable thing and asked for help. And that's been true for a long time. Like, the great, another example is when my son died a couple years ago, almost, you know, next month. And it was January, ground was frozen, didn't know what to do, couldn't afford a funeral. They wanted $13,000, man. Like, it was, I don't know what to do. And so we're like, man, I don't know what to do. And it had to happen right away, because it's not like you can just not do anything. And so shared it with the community, shared it, you know, told people about it. And between folks here, between the funeral home, between, you know, folks online, folks on different websites and whatnot, it was all paid off. It's about the vulnerability. It's about being willing to just wait and see what God will do. Many people won't. They won't wait. They just jump on and they start doing stuff. If you want to be mature, don't start doing stuff. Wait. Sorry, I'm missing some chat. Give me a sec. Zach says, I started streaming on Mac. It was so bad. Dude, I tried to stream from Mac when I was in Florida. Yeah, holy moly, man. Disco says, I was in an accident last month and had a long wait over the insurance, and the Lord provided. Well, God, you know, that's good. That's good. Hi, Disco, by the way. Good to see you, man. How you doing? How's life? How are the kids? Beware says, I think it's hard for people to reach out for help, and we feel indebted when we do receive it. There are a lot of people out there who will help out of the kindness of their heart. That's exactly it. It's your baggage. Oh, sorry. Kid, right. Sorry, not the kid. I got Disco Bear and Dragon, the other Minecraft dude. He does Genshin. Sorry, my bad, Disco. I got your name confused with someone else's. But yeah, to your point, Gur, and it comes down to this. It's what your attitude is towards asking for help. Is it biblical? Because biblically, you're supposed to ask for help. You are. You're like, bear each other's burdens, confess your sins to one another, work each other in, you know, like, help each other out. First thing the church ever did was sell all their stuff and help each other. Like, you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to tell people you need some help. But because it's pride, and that's what you just described, right? It's hard for me to reach out because I don't want to feel indebted. That's pride. That's, and actually, if you're borrowing from people that you'll be indebted to, you're borrowing from the wrong people, right? Or not borrowing, asking help from, getting help from. You're getting it from the wrong people. You need to get it from people who are generous and kind and Christian. And if you have had bad experiences, girl, beware. Yeah, then you're really, really gun shy on doing it. But you're right. There are a lot of people out there that'll help. Donnie said, in a period of waiting, still dealing with issues of worry and anxiety, but have been humbled over and over at how much God has shown up. Yeah, and that's the hard part. Like, it's all fun and games when it's theoretical and you're talking about it as, like biblical theory and biblical practice, and this is what you should do and whatnot. It's a whole nother thing when there's $1.10 in the account. You have absolutely no idea how you're going to pay your rent in a week, and the fridge is emptying. What do you do? I use that example because that's literally was me. That was me in 2009. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe it was 2012. Hold on. Whatever. A while back. And the prayer, God, I don't know what you're going to do. I have no idea how to fix this. I know that what you don't want me to do. You don't want me to panic. You don't want me to go into debt. But I don't have a job, and I don't see one coming. So I tried to be obedient to everything so far. What's the plan? And you guys know the story. I know someone came in and miraculously just kind of paid all of what we needed for the period that we needed, so that until I was able to get another position, just miraculously provided without me asking that person. I didn't even ask that time. I just talked to God, and then that person just showed up at the door. Here, money. God said you need it. Thank you. Personally, I've worked for everything I have and help others however I can. I've helped family members, felt like I'm not appreciated but expected to give. I've grown up with the mindset of I can do this by myself and help others in the process. There's a little bit, right? It's kind of good but kind of bad, right? So it's like, I've helped family members and felt like I'm not appreciated but expected to give. So with the way the Bible talks about giving is give without any expectation of receiving. Give without any expectation, with no strings, essentially what it comes down to. And therefore you let go. Even when you lend something, like say somebody borrows your lawnmower, somebody borrows your a DVD, somebody needs whatever, you give and you let go, and that's gone now. If it comes back in the same shape it left, good. But otherwise it is, you go, this isn't mine. I'm just a steward of this for now until I die or it dies. And so therefore, God gave me the money to do this. God gave me the energy to do this. God provided me to be able to buy it. Now this other person needs it. It's not mine. I'm just a manager of God's resource. So here you go. And if that guy blows it up and it breaks, and you go, okay, well, God's going to provide another one, or I don't need that, or we'll figure something out. Giving with strings is really, really hard on your heart and harder in your relationships. And then, the mindset of I can do this by myself and help others in the process. It's good. That's having that self-confidence and having that tenacity and being willing to not only, work hard and do right things, but also be like, and part of what I do is I'm supposed to help people. That's all very good. That's really, really good. We are never built to be by ourselves. There's no part of this world ever that we're supposed to be doing by ourselves, except maybe salvation, and that's it. We're meant to do everything in community. The whole world, everything God put together is designed to be in community. By ourselves is not how we're supposed to operate. And we can't, literally, if you think about it philosophically, you can't anyway. You're always dependent on someone, whether it be the person that taught you how to do it, or the person that made the lights turn on, or the person that invented whatever you're currently using to do the job. Like, we're always dependent. Always, always, always. It's a matter of acknowledging it. I don't expect anything in return, but to recognize that I've always heard from them. Oh, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah. That's hard. I'm here. I want to. That's the other side of this too, right? I want to help. I have stuff to help. God's told me to set aside some stuff, and nobody's asking. It's got to be hard on that side, right? Like, I know people that have been like that. Like, I know people that have literally carried around, I think it was $100 or $200 in their pocket, and they really felt like that God had said, this is for someone else, right? They got it in some interesting way. This is for someone else. Give it to the person who asks for it, right? And so they carried it around, and they carried it around for weeks and weeks before somebody mentioned anything about needing help. And then they immediately were like, here, yep, that's for you. I've been carrying that around for you. Does that mean nobody needed anything for weeks? No. What it meant was that people weren't willing to share. God's like, here, a blessing. Anybody can have it. All you have to do is admit you need it. Salvation in a nutshell, right? And then, but nobody did. Giving the strings is why I never went to my mom for stuff, and often avoid taking stuff she offered. Yep, and that's the smart thing to do, right? It's just, if you know there's going to be strings, there's going to be hard feelings and manipulation, just don't do it. That's not who you are to get things from. I think I was meant to find you today because I woke up feeling grateful for how far I've come and the people that's in my life, but I needed something more. I think I'm in the right place. Hey, dude, thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that. It means a lot. We're on this channel, what I do, right? I'm committed to helping content creators to grow, networking together and training them, but also in building community. One of the things that we do is we bring together the community of multiple creators into one spot. That's what the Discord is. Multiple creators and their communities together so we can support each other. So my mission here is I'm a pastor. I was a pastor for a long time. I do leadership development, personal development, pastoral counseling, and that's kind of my jam, and teaching. And so being able to go through this stuff and just kind of talk about it, I love doing it. And so if it connects to a heart and somebody says that, it means worlds to me. It really, really does. Because it means that, it's not just going out there into the world and disappearing. It's helping people. So that makes me happy. Now go subscribe to me on YouTube. Sorry. Part of the game, don't you know? Yo, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Giving it's always felt like you want something in return because of my mom. Yeah, so I've always felt some type of way. My mom is so the opposite of that. I grew up with such good parents. One thing I've learned after meeting everybody is that my parents were awesome. They just really were. My mom was always super generous and always had my back and always was kind and far too, like just so good. She came up to visit, first time in years. I haven't been home in like over a decade because life. And so they came up and visited, and it was full on, man. Like she at one point, I kid you not, she looked at my dad, and we were all sitting there, and she's like, this credit card's full. Give me the other one. Grabs the other one. Like, okay, let's go. And it's just so funny because my dad's like, it's still warm. Don't worry, they paid it off immediately. They use it for the points. But it's just so funny. She was super generous. All right, see you in a bit, Don. Okay, well, I mean, that's the chat. I'm going to move into just chatting so we can kind of continue the conversation. If you want to continue it on, ask me anything. It's always an AMA, meaning you can ask me whatever you want. I'm going to close in prayer real quick, and then I'll jump over to just chatting. Thanks for today. Thanks for your love, God, and thanks for bringing us together. I do pray that, as Gur said, the people in the right place at the right time. Thank you for providing that. That's really, really cool of you. To you be the glory. In Jesus' name, amen.